So I have a lot of people that don't know me or didn't purchase through me that ask me what my story is. So if you're interested, I'm going to tell my story. Uh, I was just so exhausted and fatigued. I was taking care of my mother total 9 years, 24/7. But at the time it was about 7.5 years. And I was in adrenal failure, but I didn't know that I was in adrenal failure until I had the blood work. And I just so happened, it was just coincidental that I had blood work done before I started BEMER and like within 6 weeks after BEMER. So on a completely different issue. So, I actually have scientific results as far as what happened to me and to my blood work before and after, but that was completely unintentional. But anyway, it was a client that came to me, an older lady that used to play bridge with my mom, and she was there for a massage, and she asked me, how my mom was doing, and I said, well, not very well. And I'm not doing very well. I was thinking I might have to put her in a nursing home because I'm up all night with her, and as you take care of people, you learn ways and tricks and things to do to help yourself. But like when you're just getting started and you're all by yourself, you don't know these things. So I was up all night. She was wetting the bed. I was changing the bed. She did have diapers, but there were still things that she knew how to do by herself that she had forgotten to do because her dementia, her memory issues were getting so bad. So she stopped doing them, and she would just be up all night. I had purchased a floor alarm and a baby monitor so I could look at her from my bedroom, which was upstairs. She was downstairs, so I didn't have to keep running up and down the stairs. I could actually just turn over in bed and see what was going on with her. And I could see, I knew because of the floor alarm when she would get up to go to the bathroom, and sometimes she just couldn't make it. She didn't remember where it was. And so I would go down and help her, and the bed would be wet, and I'd be changing the bed. I would be changing her in the middle of the night. We would be doing all these different things. Then I would be working all day as a massage therapist. I would be so exhausted by 6 o'clock at night. I would just go, how do people have a social life? How do they do yard work after 6 o'clock? Some of my clients would get concerned if I had evening massages because after 6, I could hardly speak anymore. I lost like my ability. I was so tired and I couldn't formulate thoughts and words that I would just be, the sentence would be there in my head, but I couldn't speak it. And I couldn't articulate anymore. So obviously you can see that, that's not my problem now. If anything, Kathleen, stop talking. Don't tell us so much. We don't want to know all these details. But at the time, I couldn't do that anymore. And it was because of BEMER that I can now talk and think again. How much is that worth? Anyway, so she said to me, this client, she said, wow, Kathleen, have you heard of BEMER? And she goes, my doctor told me about it. And I said, really? And she goes, yeah. And I said, well, actually, I have heard about it. My chiropractor has one in his office, and his wife runs it. But, I have never gotten on it. They told me it helps with energy, but, I never heard anything about memory issues or anything like that. And I said, she goes, well, supposedly there's this girl somewhere that it reversed her grandmother's dementia in 6 months without any medication or drugs. And I said, reversed her dementia? And she goes, yeah. And I said, thank you so much, but that's not possible. That would be on the nightly news if that had really happened. And she goes, no, that's what I heard. I said, okay. In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, it's another scam, another, device that can do everything but leaps, tall buildings in a single bound. So I said, I'll call this person that I know. Her name is Fanta, and I will ask her about it. And I was almost embarrassed to say the story, but I said, you know, supposedly there's this story where there's this woman that has this grandmother that reversed her, blah, 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 blah. And she goes, Kathleen, I don't mean to be rude and I don't want to interrupt you, but you need to know that I'm the girl and it's my grandmother. I was like, oh my God, yes, well, tell me the story, you know, what happened? And so she said that, well, they found my grandmother at like 2 in the morning in Vero Beach, Florida. She was bloody and dirty from falling. Her vertigo was all off, and a Good Samaritan found her at like 2 in the morning and called the police and followed her until the police got there. And she didn't know who she was or where she was. She was carrying a pillowcase full of family photographs. And the story went on and on and on. And so Fanta had said that they called my mother, Cindy, who lives in Versailles, Kentucky, which is about a half an hour from here. And she flew down to get her, brought her home. A friend of theirs had given them a Beamer once she brought her back and to try it on her. And how I've heard the story, if I'm telling some of the facts a little off, you'll have to forgive me, but I'm doing my best as I understand it and as I've heard it. That how Cindy tells the story that since she was walking at night, and that was a big problem, that on the 4th day, she slept through the night. And on the 5th day, Cindy bought her first Beamer. And Cindy actually tells the story that it was in 3 months that the issues were reversed in a significant way. And this was from a woman that didn't know who she was or where she was, and that it reversed this. So after, and she continued to tell more of the story, but after I heard this, I said, okay, well, sign me up. What do I need to do? And she said, well, can you bring your mother in the office every day for, say, the next 10 days? And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to cancel all my massages. I said, I really need to work for a living. I don't think I can do that by the time I get her dressed, get her, in the wheelchair, get her in the car, get her out of the car, get her in the office, back, da-da-da-da. I said, my day is gonna be gone. And she said, well, I'm not that busy right now. How about if I come to you? And I said, well, if you come to me, I'll do it too, So at the time there were sessions, so you could buy, and you can still buy sessions from people. I didn't have rentals. She didn't have a rental at the time, or I would have done that. It's actually a better deal if you have a rental available to rent. But anyway, she came to the house, very kindly of her, almost every day for like 5 weeks. Might have been 6, but I ended up spending $1,000 on myself and $1,000 on Mom, because I bought 4 sets of 10 for me and 4 for Mom. So we ended up spending almost $2,000 before I bought my first Beamer. But it was during that first 30-day period, or it might have been 5-week period, that all this had happened with my mom and with the doctor that I've already shared, that she went off all her medications at 97. She actually never got off of a level 1. That's how powerful level 1 was. I mean, sometimes we would only go 4 minutes. We'd start at 4 minutes once a day. It took us a while to even get up to 8 minutes on my mother, because she was in such a compromised system with the medications and with everything. So we actually would take her off the Beamer on some days and just put her on Beamer water. And there's a way to Beamer water. I'll do a video on Beamer water. But it was within 30 days, she became functional. She remembered what diapers were, what pads were. She could get to the bathroom on her own again. I could actually sleep through the night. She wasn't waking me up as much, and she wasn't wetting the bed. My adrenal system rebooted itself without any medication or drugs, and I went from no energy to energy like I couldn't even remember. It was so amazing how much energy I had again, and I could function after 6 p.m. I was using the brain protocol on my head. And actually I had to do it twice a day on me, when even my stress level had gotten so high, my brain fog or dementia or memory issues, whatever you want to call it, was really bad. And it reversed me. And so then I could speak again and talk again and formulate sentences again. And so, that's what happened to us. And then I started telling my clients what was going on with us, and they wanted to try it, and they started buying Beamers. So I didn't need another business with taking care of my mom, her 3,300 square foot house, or big yard on a corner lot. I was doing that, and I was working full time and taking care of her, and I just had so much on my plate. I didn't need another business. So, but I was like, either give the money to Fanta and her husband, or, you keep the money and, you take care of your own clients. So I ended up becoming a distributor, and my sister didn't want me to spend my mom's money on the Beamer. It was just too out there. So I ended up deciding that I actually wanted to purchase a Beamer, and I got an interest-free credit card. Thought I'll just pay it off over the course of a year. I'll bite the bullet. It'll be like $500 a month, but I'll do it. I can do that. And there was just no way of seeing what actually did happen. So many people bought Beamers that I ended up paying it off in the first 3 months. I bought my first rental like in the 4th month, paid that one off in 3 months, bought my second rental, bought my third rental, bought an equine Beamer, bought 4 Beamers in a year. And then I've acquired 2 more. So it more than doubled my income that first year. I tell people, if it saved me every way you could be saved, physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, saved my mom's life, it saved me. It kept her in the home. She didn't actually have to go to the hospital until 5 days before she died, and then she went into hospice care and passed away 5 days later. So the Lord gave her back to me because of Beamer the last year and a half of her life, and we had a great time and adored her. So, and since then, I've had many clients and many people on the Beamer. I've seen so many miracles. I wouldn't even know where to tell you or where to start. I never looked back. Once I actually made that first purchase, it's something you'll never regret. Just do the basic plan and it works. Thanks. Thanks for listening.